I think Ruth's story, and man, why not? Man, Ruth has an awesome story. If you've never read the book of Ruth, let me go ahead and tell you, it'll probably take you, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes to read through it. Go ahead and read through the book of Ruth. Ruth, it's a great story, and the story has a whole lot about loyalty. It's about love. It's about the redeeming kinsmanship. And we can sum it up here, chapter 1. Ruth remains loyal to her mother-in-law Naomi, and she's loyal to her, and she stays with she comes with her back to her own country and leaves her own. In chapter 2, we see her out working, gleaning in the fields. She meets Boaz, which ends up becoming one of her, or ends up being one of her kinsmen through her marriage. And then by chapter 4, they get married. She ends up conceiving a son named Obed, who eventually ends up becoming King David's grandfather. So we look through there and we can see that the book of Ruth is a great book showing love, loyalty, and how God can and does move. But this morning I want to look at it from a different standpoint. Maybe you've never looked at it from this. I want to look at it from Naomi, and how Naomi sees things, and how Naomi went through it. Now it says in chapter 1, verse 1, "It came to pass in the days when the judges ruled that there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. And the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the name of her 2 sons, Mahlon and Chilion, the Ephrates of Bethlehem, Judah. And they came into the country of Moab and continued there. And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left and her 2 sons. And they took them wives of the women of Moab. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth. And they dwelled there about 10 years. And Mahlon and Chilion died also, both of them. And the woman was left of her 2 sons and her husband. Then she arose with the daughters-in-law, that she might return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the country of Moab how that the Lord had visited his people in giving them bread. Wherefore she went forth out of the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her. And they went on the way to return into the land of Judah. And Naomi said unto her 2 daughters-in-laws, Go return each of your mother's house, and the Lord deal kindly with you, as you have dealt with the dead and with me. The Lord grant you that you may find rest, each of you in the house of her husband. Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voice, and they wept. And they said unto her, Surely we will enter to thy people. And Naomi said, Turn again, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Are there yet not more sons in my womb, that they may be your husbands? Turn again, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. And if I should say I have hope, if I should have an husband also tonight, and should also bear sons, would you tarry for them until they were grown? Would you stay for them having husbands? Nay, my daughters, for it grieveth me much for your sakes that the hand of the Lord has gone against me. And they lifted up their voice, and they wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave unto her. And she said, Behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people, and unto her gods. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. And Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go, and whither thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. And where thou diest, will I die. And where thou be buried, the Lord do also to me. And more also, if aught but death part thee and me. When she saw that she was steadfastly minded to go with her, she left speaking unto her. So Naomi returned, and Ruth and the Moabite her daughter-in-law with her, which returned out of the country of Moab, and they came to Bethlehem in the beginning of the harvest. We look through here and we see that now Naomi has taken off, her and her husband, and they have gone into a country because where they were, it seemed like the blessings had stopped flowing. In Bethlehem, Judah, it said that there was a famine in the land, so they left and they moved down to Moab. And while they were there, it says that her two sons took upon husbands. Actually, it says her husband died. And then her two sons, took upon wives. I'll get this right in a second. They didn't go down to Nineveh, they went over to Moab. So they took upon these wives, and here they are, and they're out here and they've got these two women. Now the husband's gone. You've just got the two sons, two wives, and their mom. And it seems to be things that leveled out. But all of a sudden, it says now that her two sons died. And she's left with two daughter-in-laws. Now this is not a good place to be. Here you are, brought down to where in these days was right towards the bottom. An elderly woman with no husband to take care of her. An elderly woman with no sons to take care of her. Two widow women that's going to have to now take care of their mother-in-law. They've got no one but themselves to look out for them. And they're in a place where Naomi really knows nothing about except for what she's learned just since she's been there. So they're in this place, not her homeland. And finally Naomi gets to thinking, you know what? I've been hearing that back home, I've been hearing that where I come from, things are starting to look up. Things are starting to change. She said that she had heard that there was bread once more and that Bethlehem, Judah was starting one more time to flourish. So she gets up one morning and she tells her daughters-in-law, she says, look, it's time for me to go back home. I want you to go your way. I want you to go ahead and take care of yourself, do what you have to do to make it through this life, but I'm going to go back home. And it says that both her daughters-in-laws got to crying and weeping and said, oh no, we're going to go with you. And so Naomi breaks into, how shall we say, a lecture. And she says, look, I can't take care of you. Look at me, I'm an older woman. And who is to say that there might even be a man out there that would have anything to do with me? I'm getting old. And let's just say, perchance, that I did find somebody that I might can talk into marrying me. I am so old, who's to say that I can have kids? And even if we got married and we decide to have kids tonight, are you girls willing to wait around until I bore sons and they were old enough for you to marry them? And she's sitting there trying her best to talk them into leaving and staying, trying to talk logically to them. And finally, Orpah, she sees the bigger picture, and she sees what she's saying. It says she turns and then she leaves. But Ruth turns around and tells her, says, nope, I'm going to go with you. And she looks at her and she says, why would you want to go with me? This is the question that each and every one of us are going to be faced with in our lives. Somebody we're going to have an influence on. Somebody is going to be a part of our life. And there is going to come a time when rough times are going to happen. The circumstances are going to come up. Issues are going to come up. And we are going to be faced with a decision. Let's go back and let's look at Miss Naomi. She, like I said, the book of Ruth, everybody loves to talk about Ruth, but let's look and see what this poor woman has gone through. She had to leave the place that she grew up. She had to leave what she called home. She had to leave all of her friends and all of her family. Her life is so far not happening great. She goes out, her husband dies. Now she doesn't have a husband. Her boys dies. Now she doesn't have no sons to take care of her. She is a woman in total despair. She is a woman that chances are will end up starving to death or being kicked to the side. But yet during this time, there was something about this woman. There was enough strength. There was enough of something within to keep coming back out, to have enough of an opinion, to have enough of something that Ruth happened to look and see. No, there's something about this mother-in-law of mine. There's something that she's got within that I'm not going to stay. She has shown me through the good times, and she has shown me through the bad times how I've got to live and whom I should put my trust in, or else why in the world would Ruth have been willing to stay? Think about it. If she's sitting there saying, don't stay with me, you're going to end up dying. You're going to end up being poor. But Ruth looked through the circumstances and she saw who Naomi once was. She saw who Naomi evidently still was. Not in the eyes of the people, not in the eyes or the customs of the land, not in the eyes of the countrymen, but she saw something special within her that was enough to make her want to hang on to that relationship. She saw enough in her to make her realize that, you know what? She's blessed. There might have been death around her, but there is life within. There might have been hard times, but she's still making it through. She's still able to walk on. She's still able to travel. She's still making it. She's still eating. She's still being blessed. She is still being touched by something. I could stay here and maybe I would make it, but I know if I go with her, I know if I go with my mother-in-law, I'm going to be blessed too, because I can see that there is something about this God that she has talked about. I don't think it was all of a sudden she realized that there was a God. I believe that every night before they would eat their supper and every morning before they would eat their breakfast, I believe she would pray. I believe around the house when they was cleaning and the men was out working, that she would be singing songs of praise and telling the stories about how Jehovah had come and delivered, about how they had made it through the flood, about they had made it through the Red Sea. I believe she knew the stories of God from old, and she knew in whom her faith was. She knew in whom her trust was, and she knew, I'm going to stay with her. There is something about the God that she served. There is something different. She came down here and I had never heard of them. But man, since I've seen her, since I've seen her testimony, since I've heard the words that she spoke, there is something real about her. Amen. It had to be. You don't just stick with somebody that's down in the dumps. All right, come on. You know, if you're going to... Let's see, let me find somebody to hang around today. Let's see, they've got the worst luck of anybody. I think I'll sit over there with them. And we'll just wait for the ceiling to fall. Yeah, no. You don't find somebody that's not being blessed. You don't find somebody that's down in the dumps or going through something. You find somebody that's got some structure. You find somebody that's got some strength. You find somebody that's got some smarts, some wisdom. You find somebody that knows something and they know why they know it. Right. They understand what's going on. I have never been one that liked the stock market, I'll just tell you. Because if you like the stock market and you play the stock market, you can wake up in the morning and have a heart attack when you see how much money you lost overnight. Right. It's like, oh, Lordy. All because why? Somebody said something to this person and made them mad in this other country. Now everything is bottomed out, you know. I can't take that up and down, that stuff. I'm thinking, there goes my money, there goes my money, there goes my money. You know, I just can't take it. It's up, down, wishy-washy, go. You know, I don't think Naomi was that way. I think she woke up praising God. I think she went to bed praising God. Amen. She had to do something because she got Ruth's attention. Amen. Ruth was willing, this is how good it was. Ruth was willing to leave where she grew up. She was willing to leave and the people that she knew, the land, here listen now, The land that was still being blessed. It doesn't say that they started having rough times. It just says that Bethlehem, Judah, was getting bread back in it. She was willing to leave what could have been another prosperous life for her in this land if she got remarried, if she was able to start her life over. But she's like, you know what? There's just something about what this woman's got that I want within myself. You see, she saw something. She saw something in her that evidently she didn't see in anybody else that she knew. She heard something that she couldn't hear from anybody else. And when she got up and she said, I'm going back home. My home has called me. I'm going back. She was like, well, you're not leaving without me. Because wherever you go, I'm going to go. Whatever you do, I'm going to do. Wherever you end up lying down and dying, well then that's where I'm going to lie down and die. And then that's where we'll be departed. Because wherever I've seen your life, I've seen your lifestyle, I've seen how you walk, I've heard what you said. I'm going to go with you. I'm going to live with you. I'm going to help support you. I'm going to be with you because you've got something that I want. Amen. We had this big day yesterday. I tell you what, we had a blast. It was fun. We all got out there, got to put our smiles on. We got to fire the grills up. We got to see people at the yard sale. We got to see people over there at the yard sale. We got to holler out hot dogs. We got to have cakewalks. We got to have puppet shows. We got to have craft tables, face painting. We got to do all kind of things. And we got to meet people. And hopefully when we met people, and hopefully when we sang songs, and hopefully when we talked to them, those people said, wow, I tell you what, my life's been rough lately. I might have just lost my job. I might be having a rough time with the family. My kids might not be able, I'm sitting here already thinking about Christmas coming up. They might not going to be able to have the best Christmas they can have. They might not going to be able to have something good to eat tonight. We don't know what was going through their minds, but we do know that they was here in our area, and we were the Naomis that was walking around, and we were the one that was able to share with them. We were the one that was able to talk with them. We were the one that was able to put a hot dog on their bun and throw it off in the Coke place. We were the ones that was able to burn their elbow at the grill. We were the ones that was able to try to sing as a microphone stand up. We were the ones that was able to paint them all over, pour on it. We were the ones that was able to witness, able to talk. We were the ones that was able to share the love of God so that hopefully when they left here, they was able to say, I don't know what it was. They was kind of a peculiar people. They might have been misfits, but I sure had a good time. And whatever they have, I know I want to. And I want to go back and I want to try to fit in there with them. And whatever it takes, I want to go there. Do we have the Naomi within us? Yeah, the book's about Ruth. Ruth ends up growing up. Ooh, she saves us all. But look at Naomi. It took what Naomi had to get Ruth to where she was. Folks, we might not be King David's grandmother, but we could be the one that led her to Christ. We could be the one that brings her into the kingdom of God. It's what God has got for us. Are we willing to, as the army says, be all that you can be, and whatever you do, whatever God's got for you, to give it your all with a smile on and work yourself into God's kingdom and do what God tells you to do, no matter how bad it gets, no matter what's going on. Man, she was loyal to God to a fault. I'm talking about Naomi. If somebody had the right, if you want to say had the right, it was whatever. If you want to have the right to turn your back on God, man, this was the female version of Job here. Took her husband, took her kids, took her livelihood. And that was after he took her out of her house, out of her home country. Did she give up? Nope. She kept on believing. God, whatever, I'm still going to believe. Now, we look towards the end, guess what? She gets back home. Oh, don't call me Naomi, huh? Look, Naomi's on up. God's not smiling on me. He's changing my name to bitterness. Yeah, but you know what? You're still talking about God, ain't you? And you still came home. Well, once she got home, you know what she got? She got a fresh touch from God. She got that fresh touch. Next thing you know, she starts laying it out. She starts unfolding the plan with Ruth. And next thing you know, here she is in Boaz's field. She's gleaning, you know. Well, next thing you know, their wedding bells are ringing. Why? Because because Naomi had the tenacity to hang on no matter what she was going through. And I know people all week long for the past 2 and 3 weeks, people has had different, these wheels, tables, you know, they'll have things sitting at your house, in your way. You know, if you're like me, you probably sit in the living room. I'll get through this if I sit in the living room, you know, and then for 3 weeks you walk around it, you know, instead of just getting it done. Probably all this stuff we set up for this carnival, you had to put your life on hold. You know, you had to be here at 8:15 with a trailer to help load everything up. Oh, wait a minute. It does come more than once a day. Y'all get that later. But you know what? Things happen, you stay with it. Bad times come, stay with it. But here's the good part now. Through the good times, stay with it too. Don't jump ship when it gets going good. That's what you got here for. It's starting to go good now. Don't go backing off. You never know who's watching you. Think about this. Naomi probably had no clue now that Ruth was watching so close that she's willing to leave everything she's got to be with her. She finally talked to Orpah. It didn't take, one try. Orpah, just go back. Just go back. Ain't that like some church members, or church people? Sorry, I shouldn't be saying this. Well, times getting tough around here. Oh, yeah? Yeah, times getting tough, but we're going to be okay. Well, I'll stay. Okay, good. But now we might have to do without air conditioning this summer, so y'all, oh, yeah? Well, maybe I should go looking for a different church.
That's right.
Okay.
Exactly.
See y'all later. We got fans. Come on back. Didn't take long to talk to Orpah. No, I'll stay then. I'll stay. If you're thinking I ain't never going to have another life, you're thinking I ain't going to have another husband, I'm going to be starving to death on a curb with you, no, I'll go. Not Ruth. There was something about Naomi, something that she had that Ruth couldn't get away from. God tells us, he says, or Jesus says, a certain nobleman went into a far country to receive for himself a kingdom and to return. And he called the 10 servants and delivered them 10 pounds. And he said unto them, occupy until I come. The story comes back and he says, hey, what'd you do with 10 pounds I got you? Well, your 10 pounds, I went and I invested. I got 10 more pounds. Good. What'd you do? Well, I was able to make a little bit off of it. Good. Here's a blessing for you. What'd you do, sir? Well, I took that 10 pounds guy, master, because I knew that you're kind of a, rude, crude guy. You're kind of mean. So I just took that 10 pounds and I hid it. Let me go get it for you. The master says, you didn't even invest this. You didn't even put it in the bank so I could get interest. No, nothing happened to it. I buried it. So nobody could get it. Here it is back. Keep on reading the parable. It says Jesus says the master took away what he had given them and gave it to the person that had a plenty. He says, you don't even deserve it. I give you all of this and you just wasted it away. So many times we sit there. There's a saying, the name of y'all probably wondering, why did he put in the meantime on the screen? The story of Ruth is, or Naomi is, she leaves She goes down to Moab, and then she comes back. But in the meantime, while she was there, she won a soul.
Amen.
She won a human being, but she won a soul to the kingdom of God in the meantime. When she had left, when she was out working, Jesus told us in Mark and in Matthew, when he gives us the Great Commission, he says, I want you guys to go out and occupy until I come back. In the meantime, y'all go and do work. In the meantime, y'all go out and witness. In the meantime, y'all go out and be a testimony. In the meantime, I want you to go out and do the work for my kingdom.
Yes.
Are you willing to take what God has given you? And are you willing to use what God has given you? See, are we going to be the Naomis, or are we going to be the ones that's just giving up, throwing up our hands? Getting kind of tough. Don't give up. You never know who's watching come to the instruments. You never know who is watching. You never know what kind of influence you're having. Don't do it just for them. Do it for you. But if you will keep working, if you will keep investing, guess what God's going to do? He's going to take that talent that He gave you, that you've invested, and He's going to give it back to you. And here comes the good part. For all the people who's not wanting to use it, it says He's going to take it from them, and He's going to bless you with it again. If we can live in blessed lives, going through this world, going through what we've done, going through what we go through, with our jobs, with our sicknesses, with families, with issues that's going on in today's world, if we can make it, man, imagine what God's got in store for us. All those people out here yesterday, you don't know what you might have said. You don't know what seeds you might have planted. I could hear folks talking when I'm going through, about different things, and you hear them, how all of us are this. You're going through the store and you got your kids, and they're sitting there asking stuff, and the whole time you see people coming, so you're like, just shut up, I'll get you home, I'll get you, To the world, well, we got on this face and this smile. Meanwhile, issues are going, bubbling. Naomi had some issues bubbling. Home front issues, no hubby, no kids, who's going to take care of them? We might be having issues with our hubby, with our spouse, with our kids, or whatever. And God can touch that as well. God can minister through that as well. But we got to be willing to be the Naomis and stay strong. We never know what life we might be touching. We never know what life we might be changing. What seed that we might be planting in someone that's going to touch people for ages and ages. All because we help through the tough times. All because we stay clean and we stay pure with God in our worship through everything that we've gone through. I want to go to heaven just as bad, maybe worse, I don't know. I don't know what y'all's ambition is, your ambition, but I want to go to heaven pretty good. I really do. I'm looking forward to getting to heaven. But in the meantime, there's stuff that's got to be done down here. In the meantime, there's souls that's got to be talked to. There's souls that's got to be witnessed to. There's things that's got to be done, and it's up to us. It's up to us to touch them. For those that's going to change the world after we're dead and gone. For those that's still going to be living, there's got to be hope. We've got the hope within us. Are we willing to share it? Are we willing to step up and be the Naomis through the bad times and just keep trusting in God? Don't lay it down. Stand up strong and keep your eyes on Him. Now stand to your feet.